Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In my previous video, you saw me use a sponge that I referred to as a beauty blender. And it's right here. This is the sponge that I was using. And so today I decided that I was going to take the time to answer some questions that I got regarding that sponge and some comments regarding you all wanting to learn more about them. So let's get started. Question number one, what are beauty blenders? For those who don't know, beauty blenders are in the beauty makeup industry, and they are these tear-shaped sponges that are used to give a flawless look and blend to your foundation and concealer and contouring. I bought one for $20, which, yes, it's very expensive for a sponge, but I was curious and wanted to try it, so I bought it for $20 from Sephora, and it's called Beauty Blender, and that's the actual name of it. And I took it home and tried it during my makeup application, and I was really impressed with what a flawless blend it gave to my makeup. So the light bulb went on, and I decided, I wonder how that would work in the end stage of where I blend and shade my babies for their skin tone. So I went on the hunt and I looked in Ulta and I looked in Target and I looked in CVS, my local drugstore, and looking for these teardrop shaped sponges, and to find a cheaper alternative because I just couldn't manage spending $20 on a sponge to use for painting. So I decided I was going to look on Amazon and Google beauty blender, and a whole slew of sponges came up. And as you can see, I have purchased quite a few. So I'm going to talk today, a little later, about what sponges, to save you time and money, I like and I think work the best. So question number 2 is, which ones do I like? So for the sake, I'm going to give a little shout out to Jacqueline. She is an Instagram follower of mine, and she watched my video and she couldn't understand what these cutie blender sponges were. And I thought that was so cute. So I'm going to call them cutie blenders just so people don't get confused and think that I'm using a makeup sponge that I've used on my face, cleaned it off, and now I'm using it on my dolls. That is not the case, and if you are going to use one of these sponges and you have one in your makeup case, no matter how clean you might get them, I can't guarantee that some of the oil and the residual chemicals from the actual foundation you use is not going to transfer onto the vinyl of your doll. So it's always best to err on the side of caution and buy a brand new sponge. So which ones do I like? I got these little micro ones, which I love. And I love that the beauty blenders come in all these different shapes and sizes. But here's one I just opened. I got it the other day from Amazon. First time opening it. And these guys are perfect. Melody's going to demonstrate for us for getting in those tight spaces around the eyes, up by the nose, in the ear, and blending inside the creases. So these little micro ones, and as you can see, they're latex free, and these are micro minis, and they come in 2 different colors, but they're both the same size. And I like these because they have a nice squeeze to them. They're firm yet soft. Okay, so having a package of these is very helpful. I like to have a lot of beauty blenders because I try to stay one per color. So let's say I might use this one to blend out when I'm doing my blushing. So this one will be kind of stained red. This one might be for when I'm doing some purples, and this might be stained purples. Or I might want to get in there and kind of buff out a vein that I did. So this one might have blue on it. So you want to have enough that you have options that you can stay within one color per sponge. The links below will take you to these two products. The first product is this one, BS Mall Makeup Blender Sponges. And I believe these are $14.99, which I think is a great deal because you get all these for $14.99. And if you have Prime, then it's free shipping. So you get all these in one box. And I love this one because this is the one that helps me get into all the different little tiny areas. So if I was working on the foot, this one is great for kind of rolling along the side to blend the colors from the bottom of the foot to the top of the foot. And then this one comes into a beautiful point right here, which is great for getting in the little crease in the nail bed, getting in between the toes, coming up and getting in this tight spot behind the knees or in the elbows. So I love this sponge. This one is like worth the price of this whole thing. This is your standard teardrop one, which is great for blending out, especially large areas like the head or the tummy plates. This is a definite keeper. This one is also one of my other favorites, and I like this one for when I'm doing, like again, tight spaces and in the eye area because it covers the whole eye and it gives just a nice blend around the nose. So this one's a great shape too. This one is one of my all-time faves. Again, it's another one that's great like when you're doing your base skin tone, if you're following my tutorial and you want to buff out the line or the where the darker color meets the lighter color. And also if you're doing your washes, this is fantastic for going over and blending it out and making it a seamless buff to your base skin tone layer. This one I use all the time. As you can see, here's my one right here that has my base skin tone color on it. This one, as you can see, is more porous than, let's say, this one. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? How this one you can see the holes in it, and then this one you can't. This one I actually think would make a really good sponge for doing your final sealer if you use a matte varnish or if you use a dewy skin, because it has kind of the little pinpricks reminiscent to real skin, so it'll leave that kind of impression in your dewy skin or your matte varnish or your satin varnish to give a nice look to the your final paint. So this one I save more for my sealers because it's so porous. And then this one, the ring actually comes off if you squeeze it. I just leave it on because it gives you a nice grip. But as you can see, it like really soft yet firm. So it doesn't smear your paint. It just presses down on it and gets rid of any excess paint and gives a beautiful blend. So this baby, I've been using the beauty blenders, I think, for like the last 6 months. And I love them. I use them in conjunction with my cosmetic wedges, but this is the final, I use these for all the final blending, like you saw me in my previous video. And then these two are just fun shapes, and you'll find, you know, they're just, you know, you never know when you're going to need to kind of really push into a point, and they just give a really good blend. So that's that box. The next box is this shape comes in it and this shape comes in it. And you get, I think, 3 of these and 3 of these. And this one is really firm. And this one is great for when you're doing your base skin tone, more watery layer as your final just buff out. And then this one is, you can never have too many teardrops. As you can see, I have teardrop, 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 and then a teardrop. Okay, so for your beauty blenders, you're going to want to use them dry. This one has been wet because it's been cleaned, and you will see how I wash and take care of my beauty blenders in my next video. So as you can see, it kind of is swollen. but as it dries, it will come back down to this shape. You want to use, at least for Genesis heat set paints, you want to use them dry. If you are watching and you use air dry paints, I would actually experiment with them being a little wet, with, like damp to the touch. I think that would help buff out the water-based paints really nicely. So don't be afraid to experiment with that. Let's see. We talked about not all blenders are created equal, meaning some of them are firm, some of them are really, really hard, some of them are porous. But these, I think you get a nice mixture of shapes, and the texture is really nice, because you don't want something really too soft, and you don't want something too porous, and you don't want something too hard. And I feel that this brand is a really nice run-of-the-mill middle ground. And another question is, can they be used over and over? If I'm going to spend $14.99 on sponges, am I going to be able to get multiple uses out of them? And the answer is yes. I've been using these same sponges for, like I said, the past 6 months. And like I said, I tend to use the same sponges over and over for the same colors. So this is really for my raw umbers. This is more for my burnt umbers and flesh tones. As you can see, this is more flesh tone. This is more my burnt umber. So I like to have many choices because I like to keep the paint separate. And yes, you can use them all over and over again, and not a lot of wear and tear. This one was my fault. As you can see, it's a little scuffed up right there, but I dragged it when it was wet, trying to kind of scuff it up on paper towel, and I was a little bit too hard on it. But I just use this side or this side, and it hasn't given me a problem. So, and it still takes the paint off. Or blends the paint beautifully. And what I like about these sponges is that there's not a lot of excess paint left over on them, because by the time I use them, I've already kind of pulled off a lot of the excess paint with my cosmetic. So even though these aren't, there's really not a lot of paint transferred, as you can see in this one. So they really do absorb the paint, so they're not putting paint back on your doll. They're just pulling it away, pulling it away, pulling it away, and giving a nice blend. So if you'd like to see how I do the wash and care for my beauty blenders, please check out my video, my next video after this one, and you'll see how I washed this sponge. And now I'm just letting it air dry, and it'll shrink back down to its normal size. Please let me know if you have any questions. I've linked below for the products for this and for this one that has these two in it, and for these. I've linked that below if you're interested in purchasing them. I really don't think you will be unhappy with them. They blend beautifully, and I'm very thrilled with them. So thank you all for watching, and have a great day.